Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and as I mentioned before, I'm going to make a lot more videos giving you a lot more help and advice on how to go flawless inside Trials with Cyrus. And so this is the first of many videos. The first one I'm going to go over is a video where I go over the exact callouts that you're going to want to use when you play Trials. This week's map is Dead Cliffs, and so I'm going to go over all of my team's callouts. And one thing I want to mention is that callouts are important, that they're short and sweet. You don't want to like a really long, lengthy callout or like a 3-word callout. You try to keep the callouts like to 1 word. And if you have different callout variations, feel free to use them. Obviously, there are callouts that are given to you underneath your radar there. You can see this is called lockers, but what I call this spot is just A spawn because that's what it is from Control. So I'll just call this A spawn, but this callout really isn't that important, or you can just call it spawn when you're in this general area. You don't have to be as specific as calling it A spawn. People on your team generally get the idea that if you come near this area, or if you're in the A area, that if you say spawn, that there's someone sitting back here, but this isn't that common of an area, so the callouts aren't going to be as specific here. They're going to be way more specific in the middle of the map. So let's start off here with A spawn, and we'll push up over here. This is trucks right here, so it says trucks underneath there, and there's literally 2 trucks right there. So it's nice and easy to keep this callout. This entire area we will call trucks, and there's obviously a good amount of real estate there, but still we'll just call the entire area trucks. This will actually be the A building right here, just A. It says depot up there, but the A spawn point is right there, so to stay consistent with Control, we just use that, and that way if you ever play Control, you'll have all those callouts in your mind. So this is actually the overtime right here, this spot right here, and so I will just call this the overtime. Even if the overtime isn't up, I just call this place the overtime, so that way people know where it is. It's always good to be familiarized in the map where the overtime is located, just in case you play a Resident Sleeper game where people are camping with swords and you have to go all the way to the overtime. The next spot I'm going to go over is this spot right here, which I call the pit. Not a lot of people call this a spot or use this as a specific call out, but I think that this is an important place because if there are people in the pit, or if I hear the pit call out, it's a really, really good place to throw grenades. This entire wall right here can get hit with grenades, and it makes it really hard for people to leave because the door here is so narrow that if you throw a grenade, a pulse grenade right here, for example, as someone tries to go through this, they're going to get hit by it. They can get shot by you as they're running away. And this general call out pit is a good way of, knowing and signifying to your team that you want to throw your grenades there. As soon as I hear that call out, that's what I will do. And so we have this spot right here as well, which we're going to call generator. And some of this stuff you'll see me use on the stream, some of it you won't. It kind of depends on my team and who I'm playing with, and if we've gone over this callouts. And hopefully if you do enter the raffle and you do try to get carried on stream, you watch these videos, because if you know the callouts, it's going to give you that much more of an advantage when we play Trials together. So we're calling this spot the generator, and then we're going down here. This is the catwalk, this entire place. Catwalk. And the reason why I give this spot generator a name is because people can hide behind here and you can't physically see them, but usually they'll be hiding behind here with like a shotgun or something, and so it's good to know when someone's back there because they can be crouching and they tend to be a little bit off the radar. So I tend to like to give that a specific call out. Pushing in here, this is just the mill, so this is also just a general spawn area. There are a few different callouts that you could give to certain things, but generally speaking, not a lot of people spawn in here where Jace is right now. They don't really spawn in here and just stay in this general area. They tend to move out of this area. And the most common area that they tend to peek are the catwalk, or they push into the hallway right here. So I just call this the hall. Sometimes I call this the T because if you actually go up this way, you can see left and right. It's like a little T-shaped intersection here. Sometimes I call it T, but hall is probably a better call out because it says it right there, and most people are familiar with that call out. So hallway is what I'll give it for this video. Pushing down here, we have the lane. I just called it straight lane because when you peek this area, you often get laned by multiple people. Usually there's someone sniping in that area, or using some long range weapon, and often team shotting and stuff. So if you're going to lane, if you're going to team shoot, this is like the lane. This is like the most common lane for that. So I'm just straight calling it lane. And if you have different call variations, feel free to use whatever you like. You don't have to just use mine, but these are just a general, callouts that I give that I think are going to be really helpful for you and for your team when you play Trials. So pushing over here, this is where the power spawns. Obviously we're in Rumble right now for a private match. The power spawns there, but the power actually spawns right here. So if someone's in this general area, I just say they're on power. Even if it's not the power round, it doesn't matter. It's important to familiarize yourself where the power is, and the power always spawns on the 3rd round. So you can keep that in mind. The next area I'm going to call out is the garage here. The garage also has this sort of like back garage hallway, and we call it back. This area is pretty common. People will come back here for shotgunning if they're desperate, trying to win, the round and stuff. It's not a bad idea if you absolutely have to, but generally people will be in this area, the garage area, and that's the call out I give there. We've got pipes. And over here we have another sort of catwalk. You can call this one catwalk as well if you want, but if you do call this catwalk just as the other one, then you can get a little bit confused. You also don't want to call it mill because mill is the inside of this building. So often I'll just call this like outside catwalk, or he's sniping down the power lane right here, because that's usually what they're doing. They'll be sniping from this area, aiming towards the power, or aiming all the way across the map towards that lane, which is that call out there. So that's the general call out. I go with that one. And then the last little area I'm going to cover is over here, where we've got Ivy. So this is a common area for, stacking 2 or 3 teammates here for team shooting. There will be people like sniping in this area, or you can snipe conversely, and there'll be people hiding behind this pillar as well. A lot of common sniper lanes down here, or team shooting lanes. And so there you have it. Those are all the call outs for this map. This is Dead Cliffs this week in Trials. I'm going to continue to use this video when the map Dead Cliffs comes back into rotation. I'll use this same video because call outs don't really change, the maps don't change over time. So whether or not you're watching this the first week this comes out, or maybe 4 or 5 weeks down the road when Dead Cliffs comes back in rotation, these are the callouts that I use when I'm playing Trials with Cyrus on Dead Cliffs. Good luck out there going flawless. Make sure to subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.